Happy Easter. Ollie, shut up. I'm wearing the rabbit ears. You said I wouldn't. Oh, I'm wearing them, so I've won that bet. Behave. What else can we say? Combined with the Moose News. An Easter special, well, it's not that special. Combined with the Moose News. It can't be that special because part of the news is we're still not allowed to ring. There we are. That's it. All over. Finished. Go home now. Oh, hang on. I forgot to put the bloody lights on. Start yet again. Not sure they even show up. Happy Easter. Combined with the Moose News. The Easter special and the Moose News together. Well, they kind of had to be. If we do basically bells, and the new Moose News would be that we're still not allowed to ring, so Easter's cancelled. So I'll take my ears off and go home. Well, no. Okay, I don't know if you can see them. We've got two birds. We've got the... You've met this guy before. He came to Bristol with us and popped up there. That's the first time he appeared. You've met the goose, Gavin, haven't you? And the duck is hiding behind you. The duck's got a slightly wonky neck. It's waterfowl, they do that. And we've got a special guest coming up later. In the meantime, Moose News. We still can't ring. We still can't ring. And we've been told around here that we're not even allowed to enter the churches because of insurance, would you believe? We go into the churches, the insurance companies fear that we would die and they'd have to fork out. Don't understand. The other thing that might be of interest is, to some of you at least, is Isaac O'Shea has opened O'Shea Engineering. He says trying to get comfortable because I'm put sideways on a needy stool and it's that's all I know about it. Oh, the company colour scheme appears to be yellow. It's a very nice yellow actually. I'm glad somebody's done that. I wanted to do a set of clappers fluorescent pink once and was told no. I was actually told by the rector, no, you can't. I was done thinking, no one's going to see them. What will people think? He said, well, no one's going to see them except me. Anyway, I wasn't allowed to, so I'm quite pleased that Isaac has broken the mould and coming out with some bright colours for bell bits. If he feeds me information, I will plug it a bit more on here. If he pays me lots of money, I will plug it really well on here. And yeah, that's it. That's about it for Moose News. You may have noticed that we've been doing a lot of the theology recently. I was reading this today. This is The Historical Figure of Jesus by E.P. Saunders. Again, it's not a paid promotion. E.P. Saunders, I don't even know if he's still alive actually. It says Tim's book about Jesus in the front. That was obviously when I was at university. After receiving a baccalaureate in his native Texas, pursued graduate studies in Jerusalem, Oxford and New York, culminating in a Doctor of Theology from Union Theological Seminary. Okay, right, so presumably... Oh, he's published a fair bit, so that's okay. It bits in here about the resurrection. It's historical figure of Jesus and the resurrection. I'm going to read bits of it because some of it's actually quite enlightening. It makes you think. The resurrection is not, strictly speaking, a part of the story of the historical Jesus, but belongs to the aftermath of his life. If a few words about different resurrection accounts may nevertheless be useful. And then he actually goes into this and whips from the Bible and kind of proves it a bit weird. The story of Jesus' ascension into heaven is different in Luke and Acts, although both accounts were written by the same person. And of course there's different accounts of Jesus' post-resurrection appearances. In Matthew he appears only twice, once to Mary of Magdala and the other Mary. Now, who the other Mary was, we don't know. The assumption is that it was his mother, but it might not have been. Mary was a very common name, as was Jesus. And once to the surviving 11 disciples, because, pardon me, what time to get wind? Shut up, Ollie. The 11 disciples, 11 because Judas had then, by some accounts, killed himself. By other accounts, he fell headlong in a field and burst open, and all his guts gushed out. I like the Bible; it's so violent. In Luke, he doesn't appear to the women, but first of all to 2 disciples, one unnamed, and the other one to the other Cleopas, otherwise is otherwise also unknown. Then all the disciples before whom he ate. He actually ate something in front of the disciples. This is actually quite important. It's the only accounts we have of Jesus actually eating are post-resurrection appearances, and I'm being sidetracked, so I'll shut up. The earliest evidence, however, comes from Paul's letters, where he appears first of all to Peter and then to the 12. The 12, not the 11. So that's contradictory. And so it goes on. And then they sort of say, because there were the ideas that it could have been one of 2 things, either a ghost or a resurrected corpse. Think Josephus, the Jewish historian, Flavius Josephus, he had Roman citizenship, wrote something about the resurrection, and I think it is in Eusebius' History of the Early Church, and I can't be bothered to go and look because I'm cooking in here. A ghost is what it is now, or what a ghost to Shakespeare was to Shakespeare, a phantasm. I love that, phantasm, what a wonderful word. Especially the ones that appear late at night. You know, Jesus didn't appear late at night. Sophisticated ancients, like their modern counterparts, dismissed ghosts as creatures of dreams or figments of the imagination. Both Paul and Luke oppose the idea of the risen Lord was a ghost. Luke explicitly, a ghost has not flesh and bones, as you see I have. Paul, by implication, what was raised was a spiritual body. Body is naturally has substance. Anything else in here is quite fun. I have offered suggestions that what lies behind the passage in the Gospels. On the present topic, however, I do not see how to improve on the evidence or how to get behind it. In other words, and I mean, that much of the book is about Jesus as a living being, as a living man, and it's what he's dug around and found, you know, the history of Jesus. It's actually quite an amazing book in that respect. Can't do anything with the resurrection. We just take it at face value. We're stuffed. There's a table and things. Followers of Jesus were sure that he was raised from the dead, but they did not agree who had seen him. Okay. Now, there's the idea, and I've heard this because people have come and said to me, "Oh, it's made up." We know it's probably not made up. We do not, Saunders' own words, I do not regard deliberate fraud as a worthwhile explanation. I'm going to explain why. A lot of people jumped up and down and said, put your glasses back on. Actually, no, they didn't. I can't see. Molly's this minuscule anyway, and I can't see it without the glasses. That's better. A lot of people claim to have seen the risen Lord. I mean, a really big number. Most of them then went on to spend the rest of their lives telling this story. Some of them, not an insignificant number, were killed for promoting this story. They actually were martyred. They were nailed to crosses or thrown to the lions and goodness knows what. And these aren't people later who've been brainwashed through generation after generation after generation, perpetuating the same story or similar story as it evolves. These were people first hand who said, I have seen the risen Lord. I have seen him, I've stood next to him, I've spoken to him, I've eaten bread with him, I've had a pint of beer with him, whatever. I have seen the risen Lord, and people say, oh, come on, we're going to put you to death for saying that. Oh, of course, if you say sorry, I'm lying, we'll let you off. And they didn't. They held on to their story even to death. You don't do that for a fraudulent story. You have to believe it. You have to believe very much what you have seen in order to die for it. The second thing about it being a fraudulent story, why are there so many different versions of it? I mean, wildly different versions of it. If it was fraudulent, you'd expect all accounts to be far more cohesive than they actually are. And it's one way of spotting a fraudulent story is when all the different versions of it match exactly. People have been very, very carefully schooled. Because we all see things slightly different. I can direct you to another book on that, which is, again, is really good if you've got the right mind to think of it. The Problems with Philosophy. It was The Problems of Philosophy. It's Bertrand Russell. It's only that thick. You can read it in an evening. Ooh. Yeah, camera just dropped out again. Well, as I was saying, hopefully it got this. I was saying that everybody perceives things that they see differently. Everything it perceives sounds differently. We are not all identical. So if we all come up, a whole wide group of people all come up with an identical story, someone somewhere's lying. And it doesn't mean everyone's lying. It means some of them might be telling Chinese whispers, which is forgivable in some circumstances, or they are outright lying. That's it. I've had enough of that now. We're going to have a special guest. You remember at Christmas, what a rabbit was it? Moose came along and sung Silent Night to us silently. What's Easter without a rabbit? Now, this rabbit's silent, aren't you? There's a reason for that, isn't there? And I'm going to have to tell everyone what it is, aren't I? Because you can't speak. He hasn't lost his voice, his mouth doesn't work. He can nod his head and he can do that, and he can clap his paws. Clap your paws for the National Health. There we are, he's going to clap his paws for the National Health Service. Yeah, it should apply to animals. You can stop now. It should apply to animals as well, but you can stop now. But it doesn't. But I personally am very, very grateful for the National Health. The National Health have been dead long ago. You can stop now. Anyway, that's great. Are you going to clap for Boris? Oh, that stopped you. Are we going to have some politics? Are you sure? Are you really, really sure? You want me to talk about politics? You want me to get into lots of trouble and thrown off YouTube? I'm not going to talk about politics. Does that offend you? Thought it might. We're not going to do politics. We were going to do something else, which I've now completely forgotten because the rabbit is distracted by trying to make me talk about politics. Glove puppet. How can a glove puppet distract its handler to the point they actually forget what's coming next? These things, when you get into this stuff, they do take on a life of their own. What are we going to do? Is it time to finish? It's not time to finish. Is it time for some bells? Would you like some bells? Do you like bells? He's called Justin. Actually, I'm going to tell people a little bit about your history and the fact that you're going to be back. Possibly, one day, maybe, if. And then we'll have some bells to finish. Is that okay? That's okay. I bought Justin many, many years ago, 2009, and I had a green screen then, which was on that wall. So the place wasn't full of furniture and wire mainly, and all sorts of other stuff that comes with trying to run an edit suite and inventing side and everything else in here. And he was very good on the green screen. He had his magic pen and he did amazing things that weren't really suitable for public consumption. A friend of mine saw one video and laughed so much he had a little accident, and that was the end of that idea. Just realised there's bangs and clumps all the way through this because I keep kicking the microphone stand, which the microphone is attached to tonight, because this is white and I put a microphone on it. I've got one viewer who will be writing to me immediately saying, "What's that spider doing crawling up?" I keep kicking the microphone stand because I'm not used to it being there. Or I'm used to the stand being there because I can kick it. And now I'm distracted again. It's your fault. Okay, it's not your fault. I bought he magic pen. He had a magic pen. We did a trial. We made up some birthdays, and he got his magic. Shall I find your pen? You can show people what you did. Anyway, I have a magic red pen, and he'd take his magic red pen and he'd wave at the screen, and it would change. It would change to some fairly horrible things actually. So, well, yeah, it's green screen. I've got another green screen. When I get a green screen up there, we get it lit evenly and get it to work properly. Justin might make a reappearance. And with his magic pen, see, your pen isn't really magic. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. This could go on a while. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. Okay. Upset rabbit. That's enough. I'm getting hot because, yeah, I've got about 1300 watt of light pouring at me at the moment, and it's a bit uncomfortable. We're going to go out with some bells. I don't know which bells yet because I'm going to put them on after I've edited this, so that's going to be fun. It'll be a surprise to me as it is to you. We will see you again soon, with or without a rabbit. Have a very good Easter. And if anyone wants to send me some eggs, they could send me some eggs, couldn't they? Yeah, that would be a really good idea because I haven't got any. No,